Hey everybody, thanks for coming to watch the show. Today I'm going to be talking to you about Battlefront II, a game that has been pretty much synonymous with controversy ever since it's come out and even before that. And I just wanted to make this video because most likely the only things that you've heard about this game, or you've heard the most about it, is just the fact that it has these pay to win things in it, and it's got microtransactions and all about the crates, and just basically how EA is ruining your life. But I just wanted to make this video because there are some really good things about this game, and I don't really hear anybody talking about that. I don't hear anybody talking about the improvements that it's made over Battlefront 1 or the things that it changed to kind of listen to the fans and just make things better than it was in the predecessor. So that's why I wanted to make this video and just tell you about some things that I've been enjoying. And to start off with, I want to talk to you about the various game modes in this game. And the first one I want to mention is Blast. Blast is basically like your standard team deathmatch style game, something like you would find in Call of Duty. It doesn't really bring a whole lot of new elements to the table in that regard. It's basically just team deathmatch with Star Wars. But it is really fun. It's one of my personal favorites, and it's something you can just hop into really easily and then just jump into a different mode if you're having fun with something else. I really enjoy it, and I would recommend it. Another game mode on here that I really enjoy is called Strike, and this one is similar to Team Deathmatch, but it's a lot more objective based than that. This was actually in the beta, so if you played that, you're a little bit familiar with this, but basically each team has a specific objective that they have to accomplish. The one you're seeing here is me on Camino, and the clone troopers have to defend against the droids trying to capture some sort of DNA that they're attempting to steal from the clones, and the droids of course have to steal that and take it to a specific location and download it onto their hard drives or something. But there's each era that you'll be playing as has different objectives. So if you're playing as the clones, you'll be doing something different. If you're playing as the Imperials or Rebels, you'll have something a little bit more specific to their timeline, and so on and so forth. I really enjoy this, and it has that quick, fast-paced action that you would get from a team deathmatch, but it also has that objective, and you get a lot of fun from just trying to defend and attack from those different perspectives there. The next mode I want to talk about is Galactic Assault. This is the largest mode that Battlefront 2 has to offer, with 40 players total, so 20 on each team. Basically, this one I would compare it closely to Battlefield's Conquest mode, where it's basically you have to either hold or defend a certain area from the other team trying to advance. The only downside to this is once you're starting the match, if your only objective is to defend a certain area, if you hold off from that first wave, then the game is just over. So it can be pretty quick, actually. I expected this game mode to last a lot longer than it does. Most of the time, if you can hold back the first wave, then you're not really in any trouble. I haven't really seen a whole lot of modes from this. It seems like it puts me in the same map a lot, and most of the time it's basically that same thing, like I said, where you just have to defend a certain area from other troops that are trying to take it from you. So there's not a whole lot with it. I kind of wanted them to bring back Walker Assault from the previous Battlefront. I really enjoyed that. I think that they'll probably bring something similar to that in at a later point. And I don't know if you knew about this, but all of the DLC for this game is going to be free, minus obviously whatever people pay for the loot boxes or whatever. But all of the maps and characters and everything is going to be added in for free later. So I think there's a good chance of them bringing in more and kind of expanding this Galactic Assault mode. But as of right now, it's probably my least favorite of the modes on here. But it has the most players, so if you're into like a big map with a lot of people on it, then that's definitely up your alley. The next mode I want to talk to you about is Starfighter Assault, and right out of the gate I just want to say that I applaud DICE for including this mode because it's something that was really cried out for from Battlefront 1. Just everybody and their mom wanted starfighter battles and space battles, and just everybody kept saying it, so I'm really glad that they included that in there. It shows that they do listen to their fans, at least to some degree. And I want to also say that it's much improved from the space battles and flight from Battlefront 1. It just didn't really feel like you had a whole lot of control over your ship in that one, and this one really improves on that, and you have a lot more control over what you're doing. I'm still not very good at flying on here, but now I can confidently say that it's because of my lack of skill and not because the game is just bad. So I really enjoy this mode just because you get to experience a lot of different eras. You do get to play as the Empire and Rebels, as well as clone troopers and droids. I haven't played as the First Order or Resistance yet. I'm not sure if it just hasn't put me in a map for those, but I haven't experienced that yet. But I will say this, that I also really enjoy the Starfighter Assault because you have objectives to do on the maps. You don't just fly around and try and shoot other ships down. You actually have to try and bring down like star destroyers and various assault craft and disable shields and stuff like that. So it's a lot more objective based, and even if you're not very good at just dogfighting, you can still feel like you're contributing to your team and having a good time with that as well. So Starfighter Assault is really good for anybody that enjoys like flying from Battlefield or something like that, and it's really, really improved from the previous game. The last mode on here, and probably the most unique and fun in my opinion, is Heroes versus Villains. This is a mode that carried over from Battlefront 1, but it's vastly improved in Battlefront 2, and the main reason for that, I would say, is that you always get to play as a hero in this version. I'm not sure if you played Battlefront 1's Heroes vs. Villains mode, but in that one you were randomly selected to be able to play as a hero. You didn't always get a chance to. Sometimes you had to get by just playing as a stormtrooper or a rebel. But that's been completely done away with in this mode, and you always get to play as a hero. You do have to kind of be quick about it. When you first join in the game, a lot of people will go for the really good ones, such as like Darth Vader and Luke right out of the gate. So if you want those, it's best to try and get in there early and try and get those before anybody else. Although you can switch characters later on if somebody decides to change to a different hero, you can play as somebody else. But there's usually somebody good for you to play as. I don't really have a big problem with any of the heroes except for Bosk. He's terrible, just like he was in Battlefront 1. If he's ever in the game, he's pretty much just getting destroyed the whole time. But aside from that, it's really fun. Just most of the heroes are really great. There is a objective for Heroes versus Villains. You don't just kind of run around and attack the heroes. Each round, each team will have a hero chosen to be the target, and you have to either defend your target or attack the other team's target. So for that, you get points for each one of those that you either kill or defend. And then whichever team gets to 10 kills first will win. So it's a lot of fun to just kind of mess around with this game mode. I really enjoy it, not only because it's just a ton of fun, but also because although things were revamped from the previous game and you have a better chance of playing as a hero in the other modes like Galactic Assault, you still have to do pretty well in that and just get a lot of points to actually be able to play as a hero. And sometimes when you get to that point, the hero has already been taken, so you don't even get to do it. But Heroes vs. Villains is a great way for you to just kind of play around with your hero and have a good time and just not worry about doing a whole lot of objectives or anything. It's just a great way for you to kind of live out your Star Wars fantasies and have a good time with the characters. So Heroes vs. Villains is definitely a really fun addition to the game, and I'm glad that they put it in there and made the changes to it that they did. You don't just have to play online in Battlefront 2. I'm sure a lot of you have heard of the single-player campaign, and I'll talk about that in a minute. But I also want to talk about the arcade mode that they included, where you can basically customize your own match. You can either play as any of the heroes, or you can just play as a random trooper. But you can do this on any planet, and you can set basic parameters like what kind of game mode it'll be. The one I'm playing right now is called Onslaught, where you basically just try and hold out as long as you can and defeat as many troopers as you can. I set it to I'm not sure if it was the max amount of troopers, but I put it at 1,000, and each time you kill a trooper you get a certain amount of points, which you can also adjust that as well. You don't get points, you get time bonus. So as you can see, there's a little timer at the top there, and each time I kill a droid I get a 3-second boost. So the idea was to kill all the troopers before that, so it was really kind of neat to just mess around with, and you get a chance to play as all the different heroes and kind of test them out in case you're on the fence about whether or not you want to pay the credits and unlock a certain hero if it's not already unlocked. So this is a really great addition to the game as well. It's something you can kind of do if you're not feeling like dealing with the online components and just you want to sit down and have a good time and play some Star Wars. This is really fun as far as just being kind of like classic Battlefront from like way back in the day. I think this is probably the closest that EA and DICE have come to emulating those games. So if you really liked those games, then this will definitely be a good mode for you. It's, you know, it's not the same as those, but it's definitely a step in the right direction. And I think that they'll probably do a little bit more as far as maybe adding in more arcade modes for you at a later date. I'm not sure, that's not confirmed at all or anything, but I think that would be really neat if they did. But as it is, arcade mode is still quite a bit of fun. Another thing that people really wanted from Battlefront 1 that it didn't have was a single-player campaign, and Battlefront 2 has delivered on that as well. I've played about half of the campaign so far, and it's pretty fun. It's nothing like outstanding. It's just basically a shooter. I'm sure you've heard a little bit about the story, and I'm not going to spoil anything for you. Don't expect to be like completely blown away by it or anything. It's not like a really great campaign, but it is kind of neat that it's a new canon Star Wars story for you to find out about. There's you know, kind of some twists to it. There's nothing really that I found very surprising. You may have already heard about the main spoiler for this story, but I'm not gonna give anything away. But it is really nice that they included this campaign in it, and I'm not gonna, you know, take any points away for it not being like completely outstanding and blowing me away or anything. It's still really neat that DICE included a story mode, and it's something that proves yet again that they are kind of listening to the fans, even though they had this whole loot box debacle. And that's the thing that I want to talk to you guys about next.
You stay here, R2.
Alright, so as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, a lot of controversy surrounded this game because of these crates, and I'm sure you've heard about them. I couldn't make a video about Battlefront 2 without mentioning them at least, and I just want to kind of dispel some of the rumors you may have heard about them, and I'm just going to be totally honest with you guys about them and how they affect the game and your progression. So basically, if you don't really know how it works, in the game you have star cards, and those affect your character's abilities. You have different you know, upgrades and things like that you use the star cards for, and you make star cards by using crafting parts. Crafting parts can only be obtained through crates and some challenges. I've done a few of the challenges and I have a lot left, but I don't think I'd be able to unlock everything I want just by doing those. So they've made it to where you most likely will have to at some point buy a crate if you want to unlock everything in the game. You can, however, buy crates with credits from matches, and you do get one free crate every day that you log in. But as I mentioned earlier, you only get about 200 to 300 credits per match, and each crate costs anywhere from 2,000 to 4,000 credits, so it takes a long time to get the crates if you're doing it that way. A lot of things are unlocked with the in-game money credits, such as the heroes, which you get by playing the game and doing challenges. But in the long run, I think progression in this game as a whole is going to be hindered by the fact that the crates are the main way for you to progress. You unlock guns and a few upgrades for your character just by playing, but all of the really big changes and the star card abilities you're going to get are directly influenced by them that you get from the crates. The day that the standard edition of the game actually came out, EA actually decided to completely disable the ability to buy crates with real money. But you may have heard that that meant that they were taking microtransactions out of the game completely and they weren't going to bring them back. But that's not the case. They are actually going to bring microtransactions back at a later point. But as of right now, you cannot actually spend real money to buy crates. So just to let you know, that doesn't mean that they're going to completely change how this works. It just kind of means that they may be reworking it and thinking of a new way to do it. But as of right now, it basically just means they're going to bring them back later. So long story short, as you can see from this video, there's a lot to enjoy and to do in this game, and you don't have to buy anything with the crates with real money to actually unlock stuff. It just takes a little bit longer to use the in-game credits. But I definitely think that crates are an issue with this game, and you know, they either need to be completely removed or changed to a better style, like a lot of people have compared Overwatch's style, where you basically just buy the crates for cosmetic and skins and things like that. So if they did something like that with these crates, that would be a lot better. And I'd almost to be honest, I would almost rather they would just go back to the season pass model that they had for Battlefront 1, because at least then you know exactly what you're going to get with your money. You're not just putting money into this kind of randomly generated crate system where you might get a star card that you want, or you might get the crafting parts that you want, but you probably won't. But that's going to about do it for my video on Battlefront. I hope that you guys learned some new things about it, and I tried to be like totally honest with you about it and my experiences with it. I really believe that there's a great game to be played here. I don't think that if you look at the big picture that the loot crate system completely ruins it, like the media and a lot of people are saying. And honestly, if you're a big Star Wars fan and you like FPS games, I think there's a lot of fun to be had here. But that's going to about do it, so if you like this video, please leave a like and subscribe if you aren't already. Also, follow me on Twitter at TheBenBroadcast for channel updates and other cool stuff like that. Thanks for watching, we'll see you next time.